Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Brooke. I am 28 years old. I live in North Carolina with my husband, and welcome to my channel. On this channel, I want to talk about my interests, talk about my life, what it's like to work remotely in the tech industry, and personal finance. I love personal finance. I am really interested in budgeting and saving and investing. And so I just wanted to create this channel to talk about the different interests that I love. And since it's January, I wanted to put out this video to help people get to know me more and also to give you some actionable tips about what you can do with your finances this year. So a little bit about me so that you can get to know who I am and this channel. I work for a tech company, and I've been working at this tech company for over 3.5 years now. I have been full-time remote since I started in 2021. I actually got the job fully remotely, and I've been working remotely ever since. And I have been able to see my team members in person, but most days I am working from here, from my house. And I really enjoy that setup. I love being a remote worker and having that flexibility. And I really want to make this content to help others to understand what it means to be a remote worker, what it means to budget, and yeah, so that's what this channel is going to mainly focus on. And I really hope that you can find some actionable stuff that I'm going to be showing you in these videos. So for this first video, I want to actually show you guys how you can create a really easy budget template within Google Sheets. Google Sheets is a great program because it's free if you have a Google account, and so you don't have to pay for it, and it's super easy to make it as complicated as you want. You can add different formulas, especially if you know how to use Excel and stuff like that, to do a lot of the automation part of it. But really, when it comes to your budget spreadsheet, you really want to make sure that you focus on simplicity, because you want to have a system that sticks. There's a lot of great budget spreadsheets out there, like on Etsy and other YouTubers that have them. But I think one of the best things that you can do if you're really starting out and you've never done this before is to create your own from scratch. And then I like to think of it as like when you're trying out a new hobby, you don't want to spend like a crazy amount of money up front on this new hobby. But if you really stick to it, say in 3 months, you're still really enjoying the budget spreadsheet and you're enjoying making sure that everything is all good and stuff like that, then you can move on to like buying a more complicated template that maybe has like a debt tracker and has like investments and stuff like that. And so it's really more about building the habits first before putting in the money. So before we get started with our budget spreadsheet, the first thing that you need to know are a few of the terms out there about the different methods of budgeting. So one of the most popular methods out there for budgeting is the 50-30-20 rule, and that says 50% goes to needs, 30% goes to wants, and 20% goes to saving, investing, and debt. Another great method of budgeting is called the pay yourself first method, and this is where you put your money to work first before anything else. And the last one is the zero-based budgeting method. And this method is really simple because it's just saying money that comes in throughout the month is the money that I'm going to spend, and it should equal out to zero. So very basic, and that's what I like to use. I like to use the zero-based budgeting method. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go into Google Sheets and I will show you how to do it. So we are on a brand new spreadsheet right now. So what you want to do is we can just go ahead and just call this our budget sheet. And since we're in January, we're going to call this the January budget. The first thing that you will want to do is you will need to know how much money you have to spend. So in your first column, we could just say paycheck number 1 if you get paid bi-monthly like me, and then you have paycheck number 2. And then what you want to do with these is you want to put in the budgeted amount that you're going to get, and then you want an actual. Once you get your paycheck, you'll fill this in with the actual amount that you get. So let's say that we have $2,000 coming in both paychecks. And so we can go ahead and we have $2,000 now, and then we can say total. And then here we just are going to use a easy formula called the sum function. And this is going to take those two numbers and add them up. And so then if you need to add any more, let's say you have a partner that you live with, you can add in their paychecks. You can say partner paycheck, and maybe they make $1,500, and you can add that, and then you can just go ahead and change that formula and it will do the math for you. So once you have that information, you can build your budget from there. And then the last column that you're going to have is the leftover column, and this is going to be filled out later, but what it's going to do is it's going to take your total, it's going to do the math for you so that you can make sure that that number should be 0 at the end. So now we're going to move on to our fixed expenses, and we're going to do budget and actual. So our fixed expenses are going to be our rent, our mortgage, our utilities, our groceries and gas. And for things that are more variable like groceries and gas, what I recommend doing is go through and pull the last 3 months. And then what you want to do is you're going to take that amount that you spend over the 3 months and divide it by 3. And that's going to give you an average about how much you spend on a quarterly basis. So we have this leftover now. So we're going to take our rent, and let's say our rent is $1,750. And then what we do is every time we have a fixed expense, we're going to add that to here. Next, we will have our utilities. So let's say $250 for utilities. Then let's do our groceries. And let's say over the past 3 months, when you average them together, you've been spending about $500 on groceries. Then you can go ahead and add your gas. Let's say you spend $160 on gas for your car. And then what you want to do is any debt payments will go into your fixed expenses because you have to pay those off every month to make sure that you don't default on any of your stuff. So let's say you have a car payment, and that car payment is $400. You have maybe some credit card debt, so you have to pay that off, and maybe it's like $100 a month. And student loans, anything like that that is non-negotiable that you have to pay off will go into the fixed expenses. And finally, let's do some subscriptions. Say you have your Netflix, your Spotify. It's okay to have those kinds of things in your budget. You just want to make sure that you're planning for those accordingly, and also doing an audit every so often to make sure you're actually getting the value out of those subscriptions, because they can get pretty expensive, especially if you have all of the services. So let's say that. Great. So awesome. So we have about $1,000 left. So let's say you want to build up your emergency fund. Everyone should have an emergency fund. How much you have in it depends on you, but the rule of thumb is 3 to 6 months. So let's try and conservative. Let's say we would do $200 for our emergency fund. Let's say you have a friend's wedding coming up, and you know that it's going to be kind of expensive because you have to buy a gift, you have to buy clothes, you have to pay for transportation, and maybe you have to pay for a place to stay over the weekend. So your friend's wedding could go on there, and let's say it's pretty close. So what you want to do when it comes to that is you want to determine how much you're going to spend on that event, and then you want to divide it out by how much time you have left to save for that. So let's say your friend's wedding is going to cost you $1,000 and you have 6 months until the wedding. You're going to take your $1,000, divide it by 6 months, and that's how much money you'll set aside. So for this one, it's about $167 a month. And then let's say the last thing that you want to save up for is maybe you want to get a new car. So let's say new car. All right, awesome. Let's put $300 away for our new car. Awesome. Now you have $1,000 left over at the end of your savings. The next category you want to think about is investing. If you're investing in your company's 401k, that will come out of your paycheck before it goes into your bank account. So you won't really see that money. You won't really feel like that is even your money, but it will be going towards your investing goals anyway. I always recommend to invest more than just in your 401k. So one of the best ways that you can do that is through a Roth IRA. Roth is a really great vehicle to do that, because when you put the money in, once you go ahead and take it out, when you're time to retire, you actually get to take all that money out tax-free because you're putting the money in after taxes. So it's really great to get started early and often, and to just be consistent about it. One of the best ways you can do that is by using a robo-investor. I specifically use Betterment as my robo-investor for a Roth IRA. They have pretty low fees, and it's really easy. They diversify your portfolio for you, and they adjust your risk as you get closer to retirement. So what I always recommend is to just start out small. So For example, in this budget, we have a leftover of $1,123. And let's say we want to have $1,000 to spend on fun and to spend on different parts of our life. So that means we can put $123 into this Roth IRA right now. And that's totally fine, especially if you are young. That is going to be more than enough money to get you started. And then as your income grows, as you start to get more comfortable with investing and with personal finance, you can up that. But just building the muscles of investing each month is going to help you. So now the last thing that you'll have is your fun money. And with your fun money, again, this you can spend it on anything. Some people break down their fun money into specialized categories for eating out, for clothes, for fun, whatever. You can do it however you want. But to keep it simple, we're just going to have a singular fun money fund. And then we are going to take that number and we are going to add that to our leftover here. And now we have a zero-based budget. And then at the end of the month, you just go ahead and you fill in your actuals. And this is a really good way to keep you honest with yourself about how you're doing with your personal finances. May seem overwhelming at first. You're going to see that at the end of the day, your money is working for you in a way that it hasn't before. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you found this video helpful and like this video, and I will see you in another video. Bye, y'all. So let's say if your friend's wedding is going to cost you $1,000 and it's in 6 months, you're going to have to save $200 a month. Wait, that's not good. My math is so bad.